Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Nathan with the ebookreader.com. So I got the Likebook Mimas today to review. This is a 10.3-inch Android-powered ebook reader. If you saw my comparison between it and the Note Pro, you know it didn't fare too well, but it's a nice device in its own right. The software does need some work, but the hardware, you got some advantages with this model. You got the page buttons, and you've also got the micro SD card slot. It's got that nice large 10.3-inch ink screen. The built-in ebook app, as you can see right here, it has some problems with spacing issues. I'll talk more about that later. On the bottom edge here, you've got a pair of speakers, and they don't sound too good. You also got a microphone, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, USB-C, and again the micro SD card slot, which supports cards up to 128 gigabytes. So this model has 16 gigabytes internal storage. Here it is. Look at the screen next to the iPad at full brightness. Obviously, ink. That's one of the main advantages with ink. It's easily readable in sunlight. So this model, it has a front light, which isn't something you see often on these larger screen models. They mislabel it, calling it a backlight here in the ebook app, but it's actually a front light. It's impossible to backlight ink. If you swipe down from the top here, you can access the menu to switch to the orange color. So you got the cool color and the warm color options on this device, and you can adjust it right here. You do not have the option to blend it from that app, but there is in the app section here, there's like this other app you can install that you can use to blend the front light. So if you wanted to get a little bit mixed color between the two, you can use this app. It's written in Chinese, so I have no idea what it says, but you can figure it out. It's easy enough. And then you can get a little bit different, a little bit softer color. Again, front light works quite well. It does have a little bit more of a brighter area at the left bottom corner and the top corner, so it's not perfect on the larger screen, but it's definitely an advantage having the front light. Here's a look at the home screen on the device. It lays out some of your ebooks and some of your most recent apps, and it has this section for quotes. You can actually add your own quotes if you would like. Along the top, you got the menu bar here. You got some different options. So this is like A2 mode, which will do a partial refresh mode. It also works to refresh the screen. You've got the recent apps list. So like with Android, you got all your recent apps you can jump back and forth between. And then you've got the home button there as well. Of course, you got physical home button and back button on the bottom of the device as well. You got your quick settings menu here for volume and contrast adjustment, and you've got the notifications section. And then up here, you've got your different sections along the home screen. You got their books department. It does support folders. If you have folders on your SD card, it will show them up on here. And then you've got your notes section for using the stylus with different note templates. And then you've got the app section. So by default, it doesn't have the Google Play Store enabled, but you can go in and actually enable the Google Play Store if you want. You got a couple of different options for like transferring content to your device. You could use this Wi-Fi transfer app, or you could just plug it into your computer and drag stuff into the folders like usual. It has this basic app store with a few reading apps included. I mean, this is literally all the apps included. Then there's a couple of tools over here where you can get that front light adjustment tool, which is oddly in English here, but then once you install it, it's in Chinese. So like I said, you can enable Google Play. You just go to the app drawer there, hit the settings menu, and you get the option there to enable Google Play. I don't want to deal with it. So since this runs Android, you have the option to use different ebook apps. If you long press on your ebooks, you can choose to open with some different apps. So let's talk about the stylus and the writing now. So it's really no different than any of these other Wacom devices I've been reviewing lately. This one comes with a different white pen. I don't think they all do. Some other people have been saying they get the regular black pen. They both work the same. The white pen is just a little bit thicker, and it doesn't have the button on the side for the eraser, but you can still use the back end for the eraser. The only thing I wish is that this app had like a full stroke erase, because you have to erase the full line. Like literally, it's a little bit different than like the Onyx app, where you can just erase a full line. In fact, the PDF app has that as well. You can also use this area erase, so it's just a little bit more time consuming with the eraser functions. But the pen, it does have that pressure sensitivity. You can also use the undo if you want to erase that way. And then you've also got the two different pens, pressure sensitive, no pressure sensitive. You got different lines, and then just over here off the camera, there was the option to undo, redo. So again, you got the different line thickness settings in here. You got a bunch of different settings for this. You can go super thick. You got thin if you want to do drawings, and you got a bunch of different options for that. And then again, you've got the black pen. You've got a white pen. And then if you press harder, it will be thicker. So this is the thinnest pen, but even if you press down hard, it still gets pretty thick. The arrow up here, this is like the move and resize option. So if you circle something, you can resize it. You can move it around the page. You can now rotate it. You don't have as many features overall with the Likebook app here as you do on devices like the Onyx or the Remarkable when it comes to the note-taking features, but it does work well enough with the features it has. Just sort of depends on what you need. You don't have the export to like Dropbox or stuff like that. It's a little bit more, requires a little bit more manual work as far as the exporting goes. And you're also not going to be able to use like third-party note apps like OneNote because they aren't written for ink screen, so there's too much lag when writing. Here's a look at the export options. When you hit the impression notes, it does have the option to export over Evernote. I don't have an Evernote account, so I haven't tested that. And you've also got, the PDF, the PNG files that will show up in your directory there. I also put in this black theme. I started this with the Onyx because they have a dark theme, and it's really cool, kind of writing with the white text on a dark background. It doesn't work quite as well on this device because it doesn't have a native black theme, but you can use it. There are several note templates included. This one up here, it's just sort of like look like a little drawing thing where it has these little characters up here and then blank section below. So I guess you can try your hand at drawing these if you would like. That's just kind of a different template there. They also have like more standard note templates in here in the template section. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way to set a default template. I would like to have the line paper set as the default instead of the white paper, but I haven't found an option to do that yet. But you can also load in some different templates if you'd like. So you can also write on PDF files. So if you open up a PDF, let's go ahead and get rid of these margins using the auto cropping option, which does work well on this device. And then you can write on the screen. But as you can see here, it's restricted right to where you cropped it there, right at the edge of the actual page. Some of the crop zoom methods, some zoom modes, you can't write on the screen. And then when you start writing by default, it doesn't do the palm rejection like other devices. They all do the palm rejection, but this one you actually have to manually turn off the capacitive touchscreen. Then you have no problems. You can write on the screen without activating the zoom mode or the page turns at all. So it does work better definitely when you activate that mode. Then it has this little menu bar at the bottom. You can minimize it. You can turn pages with this since you can't use your fingers to turn pages. And of course, you can use the page buttons as well. So it works a little bit differently on this device than it does on other devices, but it does work well enough. One thing that does not work well on Onyx or on Buoy software here is the underlining. So if you're need to select text on your PDFs, yeah, you're probably going to want to get a different device. You can't use the stylus because the stylus is only for writing. And when you're trying to select individual words, it's impossible to select the actual word. Very difficult to move the endpoints, and it does not select the word by default when you're using PDFs here. And if you try to move the ends, as you can see here, they just kind of go where they want to go. So selecting text is pretty much out on PDFs. It works better with ebooks, whatever reason. If you select a word, it actually selects the word instead of just one letter of the word. And it does have some different dictionaries. So you got the StarDic dictionaries on this device. It's also got this translation feature if you want to use translations, but the default dictionary is in Chinese, so you got to go through the trouble of downloading some dictionary online, putting it in the dictionary folder to get this thing to even work right. Like I said, the built-in ebook app has problems. Like right now, page buttons not working. It's like a reoccurring problem with this app. For some reason, the page buttons keep tuning off. If you reset the device, restart it, page buttons will work again. Sometimes just exiting the book make page buttons work again. I don't know. It's got some problems. So definitely on the buggy side as the software goes. You do have a good range of font sizes. As you see, when you get to the larger font sizes, you really see a lot of the problems with the spacing. Did apostrophe S right there to the next line. It's just all over the place as far as spacing goes. It has no idea what it's doing basically with this app. So yeah, default ebook app, pretty awful. But you can load in other third-party apps on this device. It has some advantages with that and the Android operating system in general. For instance, it has access to the full Android settings menu there. And then you can do stuff like increase the text size. So if you wanted larger text, if you had vision problems or whatever, you can increase the text size of the menu interface and everything. Cut some things off, so it's not exactly optimized for this, but it definitely does increase the size of everything. And you also got some other interesting things to mess around with in here. You got the inverted mode, so you got the contrast option here. So if you wanted to use the inverted option, you can get black text or white text on a black background, but it inverts everything, including images as well. So, this device, one issue with it is it has more ghosting than a lot of e-readers. So you see that even more when you're using the black background. So this really isn't that practical to use. So anytime you start scrolling or anything, you get a lot of messiness in the background. doesn't fully refresh the screen as well as it could. But when you're using the ebook app, you can set the page refresh to every page, so it actually works halfway well if you're using it that way, because you can control the refresh better. Here's a look at the Kindle app. The Kindle app does work pretty well. This is an old version of the Kindle app, though. It's not even supporting their new formats or the hyphenation or anything. I tried installing a newer Kindle app. It wouldn't work. This is the one that was available in their app store. So page buttons do work with it, which is nice. The only problem is it doesn't fully refresh the screen when you're using the page buttons. If you touch the screen, you can use the optimized settings to set it up so you get the page refresh to get less ghosting. If you hold down on your apps in the app drawer, brings up this optimized settings here. So you can increase the contrast, which is nice with ebook apps to make the text stand out more. The only problem is it will affect images as well. So if you have your contrast all the way set up here, it'll make like comics look really dark as well. And for some reason, there's a bug right now. It says that the contrast is at 0, but it's showing obviously it wasn't with the ebook app. I finally got it to work here, so they were seeing the comic in the normal color instead of all darkened out. It does the same thing when you're viewing PDFs with the default app here. There's not supposed to be a visible dark box here. But when you're using the enhanced contrast setting with the ebook app, it will show things darker in some spots that's not usually supposed to be like that. You also get more ghosting, so you can visibly see like the text in that dark spot, even though it's set to refresh every page, because the refreshing isn't even working right. It's refreshing before it turns the page instead of after it turns the page. Just one of the many issues with the Likebook software. I mean, it is usable, does have some good stuff going for it as far as like being able to write on PDFs. The open Android software is a nice bonus. I like having page buttons and the memory card slot. Lots of people love having a memory card slot, so it does have some good stuff going for it. It's just that nothing's really that optimized as far as like e-ink goes. I mean, they do need to work on this a lot better to catch up with Onyx. As you saw my Onyx Note Pro review, definitely a lot of the stuff, it doesn't have a lot of these issues, and a lot of the stuff just works better. They have a lot more features in their ebook app and their PDF app. So again, check that out. Check out the full review of this. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video right here. It's getting really long. Thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.